receive the peace of meditation. Feel this peace filling your mind and your body. And from this place of peace, spend a moment in prayer. However you pray. Be sure to include yourself in your prayers, the circumstances in your life, a prayer for your own full awakening to the highest reality of being. Send peace and love to your family, to your friends, to your community, to our global community. As you prepare to move into the rest of your morning and the fullness of your day, know that this peace is with you, is within you, and you can draw upon it at any time, at all times, to bring peace into your mind, your emotions, and to be shared with others as you interact with them. May peace pervade the entire universe. Let's chant Om and conclude our time of meditation. Peace. May our thoughts be aligned with Dharma. May our speech be aligned with Dharma. May our heart and our actions be aligned with Dharma. And so it is. Om Shanti. Peace. Amen. So, in our study of the Bhagavad Gita, we're cracking along to, today we would have concluded with verse 37 in chapter 1 still. And Arjuna is still lamenting in this section. He's still looking out at the challenge of living in the fullness of his being and feeling like it is something he doesn't have the strength for. And in the dropping or the lowering of his bow, he loses complete willpower and feels that the challenge of overcoming the components of a life lived in identification with body is just too much. It's just too much to ask. Now maybe I can do this without making a noise. I cannot. I cannot. This is me when I'm Arjuna. Oh, can I just have a rest from this intense spiritual practice? I was thinking about this act of giving in to that which does not serve the highest good. And the thought that is life-saving for me is when it arises and in me to say, think about long-term versus short-term benefits. Consider I'm in this for the long haul. I want to live as long as I can, and I want to live in the highest way. So I should do that which will support my best life. Yes? I mean, this just seems like a no-brainer. It seems like, of course, you would do these things. But when we get into the moment-to-moment practice, the moment-to-moment being awake and aware and having the intention all the time, every moment, the intention to wake up and live the highest life. Speaking about the challenges of staying in awareness at all times, staying in, fierce intentionality, saying to oneself at every moment, I'm a yogi. I am on this path in full awareness of what I need to do. And as Roy Jean Davis always said, do what you know you should do. And if you do that consistently, you're going to reach the goal, which is full self and God realization in this lifetime. If we could just do that, and I say just, but just is not appropriate because it is not easy. The yogis would say it's the hardest thing we'll ever do, is remain awake and aware of what serves the highest good in every moment of every day. It's very fitting that today is Ash Wednesday. It's not just a Catholic practice, but because my family was Lutheran, and we practiced Ash Wednesday and Lent. And even in my tradition, studying under my teacher, we practiced Lent and actually had Ash Wednesday service. And we would use the ashes from, what do we use the ashes from? Oh yeah, from the previous year, from the rituals done throughout the year that involved burning of incense and burning of our prayers and Guru Purnima and other services. And I remember how beautiful those services were. We don't do them now. But they were so good because everyone was like coming to the service knowing that they were setting a clear intention to practice something for 40 days. And I think it's really fitting to have this come up at this point in the Gita study for me, because every Ash Wednesday I think, okay, 40 days of something. And traditionally you give up a luxury or something that you know is hindering you and you just want to work with it. That's an easy way of putting it. And myself, I was thinking about what would serve me for 40 days to just let go of. And I was thinking that about, it being a giving up of a luxury. For me, I think that giving up the luxury of believing that there is any other moment than now, believing in time, like I have time, I can do that later, it folds in procrastination, it folds in intentionality, but thinking I will do what I know I should do in every moment of every day for 40 days. And see what it's like to not give in, and what it takes to continually not give in. To say, no, you have your 40 days, you're locked up, procrastination. For 40 days, I refuse to believe that there is any other moment other than now. And there's so many ways to work with that. It's a rich practice, I think, for me. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I'm not saying you should do this, but you could. So I am equating myself with Arjuna and thinking that I must continually keep my bow raised and not let it drop. I'm not going to give in to the, let me take a rest. It's like not allowing oneself to see a separation between the spiritual life and any, as if I had any other life, right? To not see any separation in every area. There's no separation between me and God. There's no separation between this action and that action as spiritual practice. Everything is spiritual practice for a yogi. We're always studying ourselves. We're always studying what the mind is doing, how things are influencing us. I had a teacher in Ayurveda who said that everything that you do, and he was speaking about everything that you take into the body, both in ingestion and ingesting in the mind, should be for the purpose of increasing sattva, increasing luminosity, increasing our capacity for spirit. Everything that we do. Then we can achieve mastery over the gunas, the influences of the gunas, of tamas guna and rajas guna. Because if we're continually increasing sattva, those will naturally come into balance. So that is a beautiful practice. If to simplify it, completely simplify it by saying, well, how about I just increase sattva? And that's all I have to do, which means eat foods that increase life force, enhance life force. It means remove any input from wherever, television, conversation, thought processes that bring in rajas or tamas guna that cause agitation or dullness. And just focus on increasing sattva. I'm going to increase luminosity in my mind and body. So, if we do that, we will see when, like here we look at where Arjuna is, looking out into the field and seeing all that must be overcome. We can see those as opportunities to increase sattva by cultivating the opposites. This is one of the primary practices for a yogi is cultivating the opposite. So if you see yourself slipping towards any of these attributes that are on the other side of the field, you say, oh, anger, here you are. Here you are, anger. Let me support you by cultivating kindness. And you will see anger almost just shrivel. It'll say, oh, she turned me around towards spirit, and on my other side is kindness. Oh, heaviness, I feel you. I don't feel like doing the next thing. Oh, heaviness, let me support you by bringing you some energy. Let me go walk. Let me go outside in the sun and look at the other side of heaviness. Oh, it's lightness. It's energy. Yeah, like that. So we don't have to push away these other things. We can just turn them towards spirit and see their other face. Cultivate the opposites. So, I hope that you can feel a correlation between what Arjuna is facing and these practices I'm talking about, and how this 40 days could be kind of fun if we do what Vyasa did and what the Indians did with these spiritual allegories, and look at our life as a spiritual allegory and enjoy it. And say, oh, here I am on the battlefield. What's up for me today? You know, which of the aspects of ego are attempting to break through my line? I have my bow at the ready. I'm going to turn you around. I'm going to turn you around. And just enjoy it, because if we have Krishna, if we have our higher true self in the chariot with us, which we should know that that's the case, in the chariot with us, we can't fail. We can only struggle. We can only, have a belief in failure. We can only have momentary lapses where we believe that darkness can win over light. But if we keep our bow raised and keep our clear intention to align ourselves with the higher true self, then we have the support of that. And we're strong. So, I'm going to end there. And I look forward to hearing from you how you are enjoying this journey, or not, and what's going on for you. So whenever you're ready, just share. It is a yogi's life to remain in study of oneself. That is, like the number one thing we do, of course, including meditation, which is also study of oneself until you get to meditative awareness. But to constantly look at how we are experiencing life and our responses to our experiences. So the more deeply we practice, the more opportunities we have to learn about ourselves. So we can pray for the end of our challenges, and as long as we're in this body, most of our learning comes from our challenges. If we receive the lessons and respond to them with positive action, we can lament and remain in lamenting for the rest of our lives if we choose to. It really just determines how much we suffer, how we respond to the challenges. They're going to be there because that's what this field is, having the human experience and responding to the human experience from higher mind, from higher consciousness. So, it's complicated relating to the human experience from the spiritual mindset. It's complicated because simultaneous to having the experience, we're reflecting upon it. That's the gift and the curse of consciousness, right? Is to have that tiny little space where we are witnessing what we're experiencing rather than just going with it and reacting to it. That is the most important thing. It's like this big. That little space between experience and reflection upon experience to be able to respond. And that's the space that increases with our practice of meditation. And I remember in the beginning of my learning about meditation, and my teacher would use the example of the train cars and the space between the train cars. And I never, for a long time I didn't understand it. I was like, what do you mean? The train is passing and there's this space between the train cars. And, it's like train car, space, train car, space, train car, space. And I never really understood what the space represented. And I thought it was the opposite. I thought it meant that we were hoping to not have that space, you know what I mean? Like, just see the continuity of the train car. And I guess you could kind of, you could reverse it and say you want to see the continuity of the train car. But you can also say that the train car is the distraction and we have that little space between where we see through, right? And then we're blocked by the train car and then we see through, right? So either way, now like they say, all the way to heaven is heaven. Either way, we're learning if we choose to see things as input or grist for the mill or, positive input for our practice. And that all comes from having the right viewpoint. In Buddhism, they call it right view. Like being able to see the world for what it is rather than what ego tells us it is. Because ego tells us it's a struggle, it's suffering, it da 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 da. So, so medicate yourself. Have those chips, Go ahead, because it's comforting. I'm like, ugh, it's comforting you. But higher mind is not comforted. Higher mind is like, no, all the way. No, stop now before it becomes a habit. Right? You never hear it. It's not that it's small and insignificant. It's that it speaks to us on another level of consciousness that we have to be a little still to witness that level of consciousness. I used to believe that that still small voice meant it was lesser, that there was something lesser about it, like it didn't have that much power, or it wasn't the one in charge. It was like this, somewhere in the background, like that was a bad place to be, in the background, right? Rather than it is the constant companion, and that I just need to listen in a different way to be able to hear that inner guidance, and that I practice listening in that different way as a support for my success on the battlefield. So that's all I'm going to say.